Whoever sees this and subscribes right now will get free beef. If you're vegan, I'm sorry. This is hip hop. So 50 has been on one hell of a press run recently, doing what 50 does best. Whether it's trolling Jay-Z, working on his next Diddy documentary, appearing on a track with Snoop Dogg and Eminem, or hopping on Andrew Schulz's podcast, 50 is always at the heart of drama and controversy. But what I find interesting is that there's been a story that has been circulating on the internet, and I want to see if it has some merit. There is a theory that in 50 Cent's recent drop on Gunz and Smokes and the beginning of his verse, he is taking shots at Kendrick Lamar. Now, 50 has shown since his How to Rob days that he has no problem firing at anyone and everyone. And it's no secret that during the Drake and Kendrick beef, 50 has been supporting Drake. I mean, hell, Drake even gave 50 a shout out in his lyrics to Push-Ups.
Drop and give me 50, ay, niggas really got me out here talking like I'm 50.
We then had the example of Drake and Family Matters rocking the G-Unit spinner made by Johnny Dang.
Nigga, I said it, I know that you mad. I've emptied the clip over friendlier jabs.
50 even shared that diss track on his social media, and since then, in interviews, he's continued to show his admiration for Drake. Here's a quote from an interview he did in July with The Hollywood Reporter. Even Drake, his position and the attitude in his choices, those are 50 Cent choices. He definitely admires Drake and the way that he moves and his success in the industry. And just recently, of course, he teased the Drake op list. And he's teased that Drake has more diss tracks that are tucked away for Kendrick Lamar in response to Not Like Us. He even went on the Andrew Schulz podcast, who Andrew is obviously getting attacked by Kendrick fans right now to help Andrew damage control when Andrew is still on his crash out against Kendrick tour.
None of us should be bothered by this, right?
Who's bothered?
That's right. You're acting a little bothered. You're acting a little bothered. And number three.
No, hold on. Who's bothered?
Yeah, we know you're not bothered. It's okay.
You're acting a little bothered.
But I digress. The point that I'm making is I'm trying to establish this history. I'm trying to establish this pattern of connection between 50 and Drake. And even though within 50's own camp and his own affiliations, I'm talking about Dr. Dre, we all know that Dre is aligned with Kendrick Lamar. You have the West Coast connection. You have Snoop Dogg as well, more aligned with Kendrick Lamar. But 50 Cent is always going to do whatever 50 wants to do. He's always a wild card, and I think he loves to be unpredictable, and he loves a good troll. That's just who 50 has always been. Hell, even one of his own team, Antonio, went out to defend Jay-Z. 50 couldn't help himself and had to turn around and keep trolling Jay-Z. 50 does not always go with what his team is feeling or those around him are supporting. And the reason I say all that is to set up precedent, because obviously this is a track that we're talking about with Snoop Dogg on it, with Eminem on it, with more Kendrick-related affiliations, especially a beat produced by Dr. Dre. So it would be very ballsy and just very out there 50 to take shots at Kendrick on a track like this. But let's check out these lyrics.
This ain't a big stepper. I'm just saying I am not the type to get stepped on. I ain't got a big weapon. Glock 17 with the switch with the clip long. I ain't finna play with you. Boy, you fuck around, I might have to catch a fade with you. Get the blick and broad day with you. Had little homies run down while I buried with you. Little man don't party. Got him out the night, but the nigga got fucked.
Well, there are some bars there. Obviously, the first line is what's turning heads, because Drake even had a Big Steppers line that he flipped on. They say he a big stepper. Well, it's no secret what Kendrick Lamar's last album was before GNX. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, with a lot of Big Stepper references laced throughout the entire album. That was one of the themes. And it would sound very on brand for 50. He's got just like a little slide thing. They say he a big stepper. I'm just saying I'm not the type to get stepped on. Think about the way that sounds in a conversational tone. I'm just saying I'm not the type to get stepped on, right? It's not a direct shot. It's not necessarily going after Kendrick. It's just 50 saying, yeah, I'm not the type to get stepped on either around here. So is it or isn't it shade towards Kendrick? Obviously, you then have more of the faster scheme from 50, him pushing through this. But then what gets interesting is a couple lines down when he's still relating to this big stepper, not getting stepped on, right? I'm going to catch a fade with you. It's the lines, have the little homies run down while Bay with you. And then you hear Biggie in the background going, gun smoke, gun smoke. Shout out to that Biggie sample, man, and just that cut from Dead Wrong. Now, on a surface level, you hear Lil Homies got the juxtaposition of big steppers, have the Lil Homies run down on you while Bay with you. But if you start digging into what Lil Homies means to Kendrick Lamar, well, that's the production company. That's what he and Dave Free call themselves with all the music videos that they produce. When they work together, they refer to themselves and give them credits as the Lil Homies. So that's now two references that you could take and connect dots to Kendrick Lamar if that's what you're looking for. But you know what? Since this is Overanalyze Friday, I'm going to take it a step further.
Little man don't party. Got him out the night, but the nigga got 4 bodies.
Got him out the night, but got 4 bodies. 4 bodies. Who wants smoke? Nobody. How many diss tracks did Kendrick Lamar drop? How many stocks does he have? How many options? 1, 2, 3, 4 against Drake. Who wants smoke? And look, if I haven't been called for reaching yet or a technical foul, I'm going to go even further. Let's think about the Gunsmoke. Let's think about East Coast hip hop in connection and history in relation to the West Coast. There's always going to be a little bit of that rivalry. No, we're not in the Pac and Biggie days, but there's always going to be a little bit of, repping for your city and your hometown. There's no secret that LA is on top right now, right? The West Coast is on top and hip hop moves in cycles. The East Coast will have its time again, but 50 is very New York and proud, right? You got a shout out to Notorious B.I.G. cut into these samples. Does it not feel like an opportunity there to just do a little bit of East Coast bragging, to just rep a little bit for the East Coast and just throw a little bit of subtle, sideways side swipes out to the current king of the West Coast and Kendrick Lamar, which then obviously sets up the lines.
Red Dotcha, I gotcha. B.I.G. time, who shot you?
Shouting out B.I.G. and his track that a lot of people claim is a diss track of Tupac. Again, B.I.G. Who shot you? Trolling West Coast legend in Tupac. People speculating that that was a diss, that is one of the instigators and big things of the Pac and Biggie beef after Pac was shot in NYC. Biggie then dropping Who Shot Ya? Is this now 50 and his kind of version that people are going to speculate of a Who Shot Ya, right? The East Coast connections yet again connecting out to the West Coast lines. And then it's sort of a perfect setup, isn't it? If you're really down this rabbit hole. But to do that on a track with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre's fingerprints all over it, now that would be absolutely crazy. And maybe we are crazy, but we love to break down things and we love to overanalyze and deep dive analytically. But what do you guys think? Does this theory have any merit? I just thought it was interesting. There was a lot of people talking about it. They wanted me to dissect it to see why people are saying this, why they're making those connections. And I think if you really want to start searching and you really want to start digging, well, yeah, you can make things connect. Now, do I personally think that 50 is firing at Kendrick? I don't think that would happen on this type of track. Would I put it past 50 to take shots? No, absolutely not. Again, because 50 doesn't really care. Right? 50 exists in his own time and space, and it's the laws of power. It's not 48 laws of power. It's 50 laws of power with him and how he moves. But yeah, what do you guys think? Is he dissing? Is he not dissing? Comment down below. Listen, shout out to Snoop Dogg. Shout out to the Missionary album. I did an extra breakdown of his track with Method Man because I thought that was amazing lyricism. If you guys want to check that out, that's on my Patreon right now. I'll put all links down there. We got a lot of extra content and bonus stuff coming to the Patreon, so stay tuned, guys. But anyways, thank you for your time. Long live lyricism. Listen, if you're here at the end, do me a huge favor, subscribe and notifications on. Really does go a long way. All right, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your hearts, take care of your mentals. I'll catch you again soon.